welcome back to Dial Twang. I'm Dave. So, today I put together a little kind of an upbeat, it's kind of a Motown, kind of skanking feel of Motown rhythm, sort of, and progression. It's C for 2. And it's kind of a quick little turnaround or F to G and then back up to the C. Okay, then a couple lessons ago, a couple weeks ago, there was it was in a different key, D I think, but it was called like R&B double stops. And just so you know, a lot of the stuff that you're hearing in that track, let's see, that kind of stuff. Okay, lesson's not really going to focus on those rhythm riffs as much as that double stop lesson from a couple weeks ago. But just so you know, and just a good place to check in, like, oh yeah, I remember that. Or if you haven't seen it, you know, want to go back and check that out. If you like that feel in your rhythm playing, there's that lesson's really dedicated to that. But just so you know, kind of what's going on with the backing track. But that's the progression. So, what are we doing as far as our single note stuff, and what kind of scales and arpeggios or triads and stuff were we using? Well, pretty simple program here for this one, at least in terms of what I used in the demo there. And I kept it deliberately, mostly about C major pentatonic, blazing through that, but here I'll put it up there on the slide. And then if you're familiar with that, great, you know, you're kind of good to go with a lot of this for today. If you're not so much, then, you know, if you I encourage you to, there's some other videos back on this channel that really get into that. Again, they might be in a different key, but the skills, the material is the same, you know, starting on a different root note or something. But that's really, and see right away how that overlaps with that double stop stuff. At one point in that intro, I go up to here. It's the same as, okay. All right. So just showing you the positions right there. And in our supplemental follow-up session later on this week, I'll break some of these licks down, you know, more slowly and stuff or whatever. But this is kind of putting together the nuts and the bolts of it, right? That's what we do in our main lessons. So whatever your, you know, use and interpretation and expression of that, wherever you are with your major pentatonic stuff, you know, you can also play it like, you know, that's the same notes. We just like that sliding. All right. So that's going on. Really, most of the movement in that intro is following that. And like I said, sometimes playing it just in a different position, the same notes, right? So different strings as well. But, you know, it's a blues feel. It's just real upbeat, and you can kind of make more of phrasing statements that are sort of more almost like a vocal line. All right. The other thing that, and then we're going to come back around here in a minute and unpack some of this. The other thing that's going on is a few different triad locations. Here's the C. That's kind of our home base, right? But just remember that scale centers around that fifth fret with your in this position. But so does your triad. Okay, so when I play with the track here in a minute, you'll see how to kind of use those more melodically. Then up here there's one. Okay, piece of that. So we got. Then up here, okay, and like that shape moved down. That's C. I use some of that little motif a couple times in that intro. So here's what I mean with the C stuff. Let's put this on for a second. And there's that turnaround. So we're back on the C. Okay. Good news. Even when it was going to the F and the G, all that stuff still sounded good, right? And still stayed really connected to our progression. So, when I say, follow the triads, well, it doesn't necessarily mean to chase them. You don't have to play that every time. But I'll show you a couple of things that you can dress this all up with where you do kind of play like, an F triad and then a G. And simple forms of that you can move around. But if you don't nail that every time, don't worry, because all that C centered stuff goes great with the whole thing. Right? Right? You kind of play the whole thing really just with the C major pentatonic. And it's enough, Get back on track here. Okay. Now, we're going to break some of these licks down in our next video. Again, I don't mean to just throw stuff out there and kind of blaze through it. And you're like, oh, man, why didn't you show us how to play? Put together your own sensibility about this thing, about the scale and how these basic components fit together. Work on that in your own way for a couple days. Then when this next one comes out, you'll see, you'll already have muscle memory to do the licks a little bit more, not easily, but you know what I mean. Your body and your hand and your mind will already be geared towards it, right? Rather than just trying to kind of force it in there right now, right? So let's look at the triad thing. So we looked at these C's. Okay, so let's now, if that C pentatonic worked kind of over everything, let's test this theory. What if we just kind of stick to those C triads and see, do they... Well, more good news. So, right, that kind of works. Now it gets a little, boxy. It's like, you start to want to bite into something, a little tastier than that. But that's a great exercise to just get familiar with those two or three. Then start connecting that, just playing the C triad so far, connecting that with your pentatonic. Okay, sorry, I might have snuck in an F note up there or something. I don't know, just I'm just adding that note onto, which is the C triad. Okay, so you see how that really started to, like, hey, wait a minute, that seemed like there was really a system in place. And there is. It's just a simple system. But you need to spend time really adapting that and practicing it. So you got... Okay. Now, when I'm playing those, demonstrating those triads right there, those aren't licks. I'm not playing the notes in any kind of real particular order. I'm stylizing them a little bit when I'm playing with the track, but I'm just literally showing you the mechanic. So don't spend time counting like which notes I played right there. Look at it as the whole. Okay, and then do your thing. Let yourself go, right? So if the track's a little too fast-paced at first, then do a, kind of a... Right? Without the track, it sounds a little, like I said, a little one-dimensional if you're just using those C triads. But that's okay. That's great, actually. Because that's the center, that's the key that you're in. The final step of this process would be to put in a couple of designated positions and triads for F and G. So one that's right here, close to this is... Okay, so sound those out, right? If you're thinking right now, like, I can't see his hand, I wish he'd zoom it. Okay, we'll do that in the next video. But I'm going to do it slow. Use your ear. Okay, you'll know when it's right. Right? You don't need me to say 7th fret, 5th fret. Trust your ear. Then And here's how you reference that. We know that the F is, the G is moving up 2 from the F, so. Okay, if it's this one, right, that's an F. Back to the C. Now, I know this is going to be, you know, fast-paced with the track, but that's your routine, what you just watched me do. Figure all that out, right? Then work up to playing along with the track. So here we go. Have to play the triads. Hey, that's quite a bit, right? I get it. Watch it again, right? Stop the video where you're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to figure out where these C triads are. Okay, I'm just going to spend 5 or 10 minutes doing that. Then turn it back on. Okay, you know what? Now I'm going to practice. I've been working on this scale pattern for the major pentatonic. Now I'm going to practice just kind of in my own way. Don't worry about the progression and the tempo and everything right now. Doing some licks, like some stuff with that scale, and then putting those C triads in there. Sorry, did a little, you know, and that's what it's going to be like. You've hit a wrong note, you know, your ear will sort it out, right? Then kind of working that F and that G. You will find that there's so many places you can do that stuff. Sometimes it feels like you're moving down. Sometimes it feels like you're moving, or sounds like you're moving up. You know, there's just so many, you know. That's kind of going up, right? Then there's a sound like, right? Sounds like I kind of dipped down for the G, even though it's higher than F. Don't want to confuse you, but that's why having a lot of positions gives you so much flavor and so much diversity in your sound, right? And it's not as complicated as it all seems at first. The key is to break it down into its components and rehearse those components. In this case, the C major pentatonic and the triads for the different chords. Work on it. Be looking in a couple days for this other piece, because I'm really gonna, you know, show you some, zoom it in and show you some note for note stuff for some of these licks. Okay? Have fun. Talk to you soon.